My name is Ethan Caldwell, a 27-year-old man with pale skin, deep-set hazel eyes, and short, messy black hair, wearing a dark brown leather jacket over a charcoal gray shirt, black jeans, and worn boots, with a thin scar across his left cheek. I thought I was going out for a night of photographs. I thought I would walk the old trails, point my lens at the ruined places, and come home to edit in the morning. Instead, I walked straight into something that didn't let people leave. The night was wrong from the first step. Not the normal kind of wrong. This was a silence that had weight to it, like a hand pressing on your chest. The trees stood like black teeth arranged around a throat. The moon was swollen and thin, its light slicing the path into strips that slid away between the roots. My flashlight was weak. Its beam trembled in my hand. The camcorder on my shoulder clicked softly with every step, a small red eye that blinked at the darkness. At first, I told myself the noises were normal. Wind in the branches, an animal slinking off into the brush. But the sounds didn't scatter. They collected. They focused. Something watched. A shape moved just beyond the reach of the light. No, not moved. It rearranged the dark. One heartbeat, it was in the trees. The next heartbeat, its absence made the air feel colder. I raised the camera and took a photo. When the shutter closed, the world seemed to hold its breath. In the black square on the screen, there was a smear, a vertical shadow stretched too long, like someone had pulled the night into a human shape. When I turned, there was nothing. Only trees. Only the path I thought I knew. I kept walking. The trail folded under my boots like some old skin. The branches arched down over my head and scratched at my shoulders like fingernails. My beam caught marks on the bark. Long rips as if something had clawed through the trees from the other side. Sap bled like old scars. And then the whispering started, not audible at first, but somehow present. It pressed against my bones, a rustle at the edge of hearing. It sounded like a name, not mine, a syllable that slid through the leaves and settled in the hollow beneath my ribs. I swallowed, tried to breathe steady. My breath made white ghosts in the air that didn't belong in a night that should have been warm. The path turned. I stopped. I should have turned back the moment the trail began to unmake itself. The way the trees rearranged, how the moonlight no longer found the same holes. It was then I knew I was lost in more than direction. I was lost inside something with teeth. At the camp, if you can call it that, there were signs that others had been there. A tent ripped open. A lantern shattered, the glass smeared with dark crusted stains. My camcorder sputtered and, for a second, the screen showed something other than the clearing. Faces, faint and wrong, flashed over the image, mouths stretched in curved frozen screams. I pressed the camcorder closer. Static filled the speaker, and beneath it a sound like a throat clearing the world of breath. The static arranged itself into shapes of motion. Figures running through trees, someone stumbling, the glint of eyes. Then the image dissolved back to the empty clearing, and for a moment the hush fell so heavy I could hear the blood in my ears. You do strange things when you think you're alone and the world starts to lie to you. You check the path 3 times. You whisper foolish comforts to the trees. You look for the rational explanation and fake conviction until the idea of safety feels like a thin shell you can crack with a fingernail. I found marks on my neck by morning. Thin black vein-like lines that crawled beneath the skin when I tilted my head. I found footprints circling the camp, not like mine. A second heartbeat under my own. I woke more than once in strange places, with the camcorder still recording, the red light soft and steady like the steady eye of an animal that had watched me while I slept. The first time I saw it clear was near the ruined pump house, where the moonlight met the fog and made the world look like the inside of an old photograph. A figure stood there, at the edge of clarity. Tall, pale where the fog thinned, limbs too long. Not walking, not moving, simply occupying the small patch of absence the darkness made. I trained the flashlight on it, and the beam passed through as if the thing was made of smoke. It had no eyes I could see, only a face that wanted me to look. There's a moment in horror where your brain offers you the possibility of escape, where you convince yourself you can run past it, make the light stay steady, cover distance before the thing has time to notice. I ran. My boots tore at the earth. Branches lashes at my face. My breath came in panicked rips. Every time the flashlight stuttered, it seemed to show the thing further along. Closer, closer, until one flicker showed it standing right beside me. I hit the ground. My camcorder clattered free and continued to record. From its low angle, I watched the world flip between two realities. One where the clearing was empty, another where the pale thing leaned over me, its mouth opening so wide the sound it made filled the trees with a hollow, hollow noise. My throat went dry. I screamed and the sound was swallowed, replaced by a low longing noise like a wind pulling through throat. There is a perverse, cold clarity when you realize running doesn't matter. When the forest starts to rearrange itself and steps you took a minute ago lie unmade behind you, you understand you are inside something that feeds on the act of being lost. I found myself at the edge of a hollow where the roots curled like ribs around the earth. The trees leaned inward, and in the low light I could see shapes watching, thin silhouettes that swung in the periphery of the mist like pendulums. The thing, if you can call it that, moved differently here. It timed itself with the beat of my heart. It didn't chase so much as condense into the spaces I tried to occupy. I tried to fight. I flung branches. I shouted. I threw my camera like a piece of sacrifice into the dark. None of it mattered. The light died in my hands. The night went from scattered to solid, a thing you could fall through. It poured into me like cold water. I felt my name being shaped inside me and echoed back into the trees. The camcorder recorded the last clear thing I remember. A face. No, an absence like a face, tilted in the frame, and then an overwhelming shadow unspooled into all directions. My limbs stopped obeying. They moved like someone else was remembering how to make my body stumble. My voice slid into a sound that was not mine. There is no cinematic heroism in this. There is only a slow, grinding realization, bone by bone, that some things are not satisfied with a single night. Some things are patient. I'm telling this now because I have been given a small, terrible reprieve. The thing left a space open. It retreated like a tide pulling back, leaving behind the same silence that had first greeted me when I arrived. My camcorder, the one that kept blinking, kept recording, fell silent at my feet, its battery finally dead like a lung giving up. I am here, alive, for reasons that feel accidental and cruel. When I left, the forest closed behind me as if it had never been moved. The trail I'd followed back was not the same one I'd come in on. There were new scars across trees, fresh sap like dried blood. The air tasted like iron. I did not sleep. I have not stopped watching reflective things. I have stopped looking out into open spaces. I know now how the hunger begins. It is patient. It waits along the edges of places people forget, in the pauses between steps, in the moments you tell yourself it can't be real. It learns the shape of your breath. It learns what your bones sound like when you try to convince yourself you are alone. And if you ever find yourself walking under a moon that seems too bright, or you feel the hush that is not wind, if your flashlight stutters and the trees lean like listening ears, then do this. Turn around. If the dark is clear, run faster than you think your legs can go. If the dark rearranges when you blink, if the footprints you made are not the same as the ones behind you, then don't stop running until the sky is crowded with city lights and the hum of traffic eats the silence. I dropped the camcorder on the road at dawn. The red light winked out as the sun rose like a wound closing. I kept my jacket. The scar on my cheek stung whenever the wind turned a certain way. There are nights when I think I hear someone walking in the leaves outside my window. There are moments when my own shadow lags half a heartbeat behind me. But there is one worse thing. Sometimes, when the house is quiet and the only sound is my breath, I catch a movement in my peripheral vision, an absence at the edge of the doorframe, and for a beat, I feel less alone than I should. I don't know if I left part of myself in that forest. I don't know if it marked me to come back. I only know the camcorder recorded something that breathes without lungs, and that whatever it is patient. If you go into the woods at night, if you go looking for photographs of ruined things, remember this: the wilderness keeps its own counsel. Some nights are not empty. They are waiting rooms. And if the forest decides you should not leave, it will not be in a hurry. Pause, long, slow exhale. Listen to the hush when it comes. It is not always absence. Sometimes it's listening.